Hi, I'm Paul Stewart, and I've traveled from Vancouver Island, Victoria, Canada, to come here.
Awesome. Paul, what would you say was the biggest struggle or challenge you were facing in your life prior to coming to WCA?
Oh, the biggest struggle, challenge before coming to WCA is just being stuck on the hamster wheel. You know, myself, actually, I've been blessed with not a lot of issues. Other than just normality, and normality can get really boring, actually. I had a good job for 40 years, actually, the same job because I loved that job, but then I retired and thought, there's got to be more, and there is. Like, I mean, you know, my wife and I both joined this, and she had different reasons to join than I did, and mine was almost as if I was just going to tag along and, I'll support my wife, but there's a big transition happening. Like, you don't really realize that you're on the hamster wheel until you are. Yeah.
And what would you say has been the biggest breakthrough for you that you've experienced this week in the last 5 days being here at WCA?
Oh, in the last 5 days would be the trance that I've been in. You know, and you get into different trances. You know, like different kind of wheels. If you just stay in that, and all of a sudden 3 years go by, 5 years go by. You know, I'm 65 now, and Ruth and I were saying, where'd the last 35 years go? You know, it's been good, and we're blessed, we have family and everything, but it's gone. And so the biggest trance was just time fleeting, and I'm done with time fleeting. I just want to embrace every moment, and that's what's happened here, just with these people and just with the teaching. I've learned to just zone in and zoom in on quality time, and I'm so excited about going forward. It's very cool.
How has the people that you've met here been on your journey at WCA? How important have the people that you've met here impacted your journey at WCA?
Impact. I mean, I would say I've never felt this love. You know, you meet people from all over the world, and we don't know each other, and but we're all a common cause. We all want to improve ourselves. You know, in a way where it's very personal on every level, and everybody's dealing with different things, but we have the common denominator of just growing and feeling good about yourself and loving yourself, and depending on the baggage that you're carrying in, you can see it in the different people's eyes as each day progresses. The baggage is leaving, which is great, and we embrace and we dance and we sing, and normally you just wouldn't be kind of doing that kind of stuff. This isn't a place to just come and just, you know, it's not like just a holiday. This is real meat and potato stuff, and these people that I'm meeting are phenomenal. Like, I mean, I'll hang out with them the rest of my life because we have this bond that I've never seen anywhere, not in churches, not anywhere. Like, I mean, I go to church and I love the people in my church, but this is a different level. This is really personalities. You know, there's one thing to have a spiritual, you know, awakening and you're all on the same level, but when you actually realize that you're very precious. Every human is so precious, and they just need to wake up to that because they're just existing. I was just existing, and I was a nice guy and had a nice life and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So if anybody's wondering, do I need this? I got a good life. You haven't tasted until you've tasted. It's amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful, wonderfully put. A lot of people ask us, Paul, why do you bring people the whole way to somewhere like Koh Samui in Thailand, up the top of a mountain, to do a retreat? You've travelled from Canada to be here. It's quite a journey.
Yeah.
Why is it important for people to leave their old familiar environment and to come to somewhere like this to have this experience?
Well, there's a couple of things happening. I know myself when I first had the opportunity, and you know, and I actually joined LMA, and then an opportunity to come here, and I thought, are you kidding? I'm not doing that. I'm not going somewhere I've never been. I'm not a world traveler, and I'm not going to spend 16 and a half hours on a plane to get somewhere that, you know, what's going to happen. But you know what? This is amazing. We're up in this mountain. It's totally out of my comfort zone, and that's what you need. You need to be totally out of your comfort zone to just be raw. And all these people, we're on the same page. We've all come from different places in the world, and we wouldn't normally have done this. But even the process of booking your flights and coming through and meeting people in the airports and this didn't, no, and you're overcoming and all that kind of stuff, and then you come here, and when you actually meet everybody, there's nothing like it. I've been on a lot of vacations in a lot of places, and you sit on a beach and you do this and you do that. You know, we go back to our hotels, and we're staying in a nice place on the beach and everything, and it's wonderful, and I love it, but I can't wait to get back here. Like, I mean, I'm here for this, you know, the beach stuff and the sunshine, all that. Yeah, it's nice. You can find that anywhere. This is next level, and I'm not kidding. This is like, it's going to be hard to leave, but at the same time, we've made so many connections that we won't be leaving, in a sense.
Beautiful. So. And second to last question here, Paul. Who would you say WCA is for? What sort of an individual is WCA calling out to? What type of people?
I'd say specifically anybody who's breathing.
Wow.
Just anybody. Like, I mean, it's not, I mean, if you think, even if you're thinking, I'm together, I don't need that. Yeah? That's your opinion. but, you know, I'm not trashing people. Like, I mean, people are successful in so many different levels. You know, people have made a ton of money. I know friends that, you know, they've done really well financially. Other people, you know, all this kind of stuff. And the problem is sometimes when you have just certain successes, there's always going to be something that's missing, and people don't know quite what that is. And it really is. And when people say, you know, you should love yourself and all this kind of, yeah, you should. But when you really dig in, and this is the real deal, this isn't just positive thinking stuff. This is really, Tim just takes you by the hand, which you need to have somebody like his quality, and man, the guy is so sincere, and he's the real deal. There's no fake, there's nothing. His integrity, he's actually quite introverted. And when I met him, he's so sweet. He's such a nice guy, but his knowledge is off the chart. And he's the kind of guy I want to follow, because he's constantly learning himself. He never says that I've arrived. He's always saying, I'm still growing. And he takes everybody with him, whoever wants to. And so anybody who's wanting to grow, whether you're 16 years old or you're 95 years old, you can still grow. You're going to grow, and so I guess it's for everybody. Anybody who's breathing, you know.
Love it. And last but not least, anybody that's listening right now, in a couple of words, what would you say to someone who's wanting to come here, they want to transform, they want to change, but they're maybe sitting on the fence, letting fear kick in? What would you say to those individuals in a few words? Yeah,
fear is a fun thing, because Tim helps you get through that, because you bring fear in with you, and it's wonderful, because as this week progresses, you just see the fear dissipate. Like when I'm looking at the different people that I'm with, and as time goes on, and they do different transactions and everything, you can see that just the courage and the strength to go to the next stage and everything. But it's one of those things where if people are questioning and wondering, gee, should I do it? I'm afraid. Fear is a great catalyst. You know, take that fear and use it for your energy. Use it for your energy, and actually just take that step. And if you're afraid because of finances, or you're afraid of flying, or you're afraid of, you know, name them all. Name all the things that stop you from going forward. Just start picking them off and use them as energy. And you'll wind up here, and you'll wind up growing. It's forget the fear factor. That's just energy to move forward. Don't let fear take you back. Fear's great. Fear will just get you to the next level. And you want to, as a human being, you want to keep going to the next level. You don't want mediocre. That's the danger. There's a lot of people out there that have pretty good lives, and they're just good. That's a good life. How you doing? I'm good. That's terrible. You want a world-class life. You know, you want to be an example. And if you're, you know, especially if your family or your friends are all kind of like, yeah, it's okay. Be the one that's different. Be the one that is going to jump into the fear factor, and just, you know, I'll be the first one to skydive, even though that scares the heck out of me. But when I'll talk to people who've done it, it's amazing. This isn't skydiving. It's better than skydiving. Beautiful.